and they're scattered throughout the Negev. Okay, some of them are square, some are circles, some are there. They're called desert fortresses, or they're called desert whatever. We're not sure exactly. There's a few scholars have researched them over the years, and it's still an open mystery of who exactly lived there. Okay. They initially, when they were found, some just said, these are from the time of King David. It's not so clear, meaning they could be maybe the tribe of Simeon. That's a little bit too good to be true for the biblical scholars. But we do find there are some places similar types of pottery, and even a few four-room houses in some of them, or some of what developed from them. Let's say if you look up Tel Masos, which we went by near Arad, it looks very similar to some of the things that we find in Arad and Beersheba. So could it be the same type of settlement? And there's a little discrepancy also when we date them. 11th century, 10th century, some put it back to 12th century. They didn't all exist at the same time period, but they do. When we summarize all of the phenomena, they look like they're more or less, some of them don't fit this, on the trade routes. So the trade routes that go through the Negev, whoever was going through the Negev, okay, set up these, they could have been almost like truck stops. They were stops along the way, caravan stops. Now, when was the Negev important for internal commerce? Because we know that if you're traveling north and south, where you're going to prefer to go, either along the coast or on the King's Highway. You're not going to want to walk through the desert. So it's got to be someone that wants something internally, there's some type of an internal interest. Or there's some other reason to come through this region. And in some of the sites we find, again, so he said we found what types of pottery? Some of the local Israelite pottery or similar things we call Canaanite pottery. We find some Egyptian pottery, but we also find a very crude, unidentifiable pottery, meaning it's not pottery that's not found anywhere else. And so this pottery, up until recently, is commonly termed as Midianite pottery. Because in addition to the different tribes that I mentioned, either Judah or Simeon, that were in the Negev, there was another ethnic group, hard to call them a nation, ethnic group, identified as the Midianites. This is a biblical name, which we also find in external sources, mostly Egyptian. And we know they were in this area. Okay, Midian. No, they existed throughout the early biblical period. And so, who are our options? The people that built these things are the Simeonites, Judahites, King David, or so on. I've said probably unlikely. We said it could be the Midianites. Recently, I mean 20 years ago, 30 years ago, someone suggested maybe these are the Amalekites. We don't know too much about them, but maybe they built some of these. And there have been other people that mean maybe there's a other option, meaning maybe there's an ethnic group in the Negev that we just don't know of. So it's the question mark people. So we have many options of the things. Again, there are about 24 of them. I'll send you now a link to a few different of the pictures and things like that. One of them we passed by, we didn't mention it. One of it is opposite Sde Boker. There's a biblical site called Atar HaRo'ah, very commonly mistaken. Ro'ah means the shepherdess. One of the early Jewish kibbutz members in Sde Boker, was actually an American woman, was murdered by some Bedouins in that area, and as she was out shepherding her sheep, they named the site after her. And I think her name was Devorah. I don't remember don't catch me on that one. I'll send you the information about that. And in that site, they've excavated and found a similar type of these courtyard, like almost like casemate. Again, it's like a courtyard surrounded by rooms that was built in this early biblical period, so it's kind of a mystery. We're still not really sure who lived there, but that's the story more or less. Again, I may ask Yoni if we pass by one of them to mention it as well, but we don't really, as a tourism, you don't really visit them, you don't really see them. They're not open to the public, but it's a very interesting phenomena, which shows that and it could have been that it existed over different time periods, but it shows there. Now, one of the things, I don't know if Yehuda mentioned it, he mentioned the Sheshonk campaign.
Yes.
And he talked about how in the Sheshonk campaign, we have names of about like a dozen sites in the Negev. That there were two Arads, Arad Rabbah and Arad there. Okay, so if you look at your notes, it could be that Sheshonk was after some of these fortified sites. We don't really have too much destruction. We don't need to really destroy them. You just kill a few people and you move on. Which would indicate, let's say, these were built during the time of David and Solomon, or at least were settled. I mean, it could have been they started earlier, but they existed during the time of David and Solomon. At least some of them were there during the David and Solomon, because, again, you need a reason to live in the Negev, and then you need a reason why you disappeared, and this would give a good one if it was David and Solomon then to build them. And so remember, and we know that basically by the time of Sheshonk, the campaign of the Egyptian pharaoh basically eradicated them. That could fit. It could fit. I'm saying that some of them don't. So it might be that they're not just one phenomena, but they're multiple phenomena. So maybe there are Midianites and Amalekites and Simonites and then Judahites. It could be all true. But again, it's still quite a amorphous phenomena, which some have more. Remember Nelson Gluck? We mentioned Nelson Gluck? I mentioned him once. Remember? He was again, I've done 7 courses, I don't always remember which one. Nelson Gluck was a American Reform rabbi who became the head of the Hebrew Union College Archaeological School. That's today called the Nelson Gluck School. It's named after him. And there are rumors about many archaeologists that were also spies. We know today that he was giving information to the CIA, so we know he was definitely working on espionage also, but he is involved in some very early expeditions with some of these sites. The next phenomena, which takes us to a completely different time period, is the early Zionist settlement in the Negev, which I know that we touched it a little bit when we spoke about Ottoman Beersheba, but what we have to remember is, like, up until 1900, really there was no permanent settlement at all south of, like, Rehovot. Rehovot was considered north. What? What? They're cold. Ah, someone has done this before. They're complaining it's cold. I don't know. Don't always change it right away. You say you do, and then you don't, and they psychologically they get anyway, yeah, Carl.
The second version you were talking
Yeah.
about, these times in the Negev scattered, not on a recognized VMRs or anything else. What was being traded that needed important?
Okay, what was being traded? Carl, you're going to have to be patient and wait. No, and wait till our Eilat trip. When we get to the Eilat trip, we're going to fill in the second part of this thing. My friend Erez Ben Yosef is excavating in Timna, and he's got all kinds of interesting theories about what's going on, and it could be related to what Erez Ben Yosef is finding in Timna. Okay, he did the tour guide course with me. He went on to become a professor of archaeology of this time period in Tel Aviv University. But he's doing excavations there. It could be related to that. It could be what we find in the Bible, that Solomon was trading to Eilat, and if you're going to Eilat, from Jerusalem, you're coming through the Negev. So it could be. Again, that's where you're going to find that. But there might be some other story that we're not familiar with. Okay, so it's still somewhat open. Maybe we'll consult with Yoni. Now, I know we had to get up early, and we made our changes to do Maktesh Ramon, but this was complete luck. Basically everywhere else in the country, including the Dead Sea area. Dead Sea would have been very dangerous to go. We probably would have had to cancel because of flash flooding threats. This is the only place we're going to be able to travel to actually do a tour today.
Yeah.
Like we're just about at the line of the rain. This is where the rain is stopping. There's going to be drizzling down south, but Maktesh Ramon looks like it's going to be clear today, which is pretty amazing. Now, Maktesh Ramon, again, understand, as much as it's Negev, it's highlands. It's relatively high. Its altitude is almost the same as Jerusalem, which means that sometimes it gets snow. Not just rain, it gets snow. Yeah. So we'll see that as we get down there. But now we're to keep going south. Now we're doing the bypass around Beersheba and so on. Okay, so what's the story? Is that up until 1900 there was no permanent settlement. And as the Zionist enterprise was purchasing land and settling in agricultural settlements along the coast in the Jezreel Valley, where they were able to purchase land, and in the north, what was going to be with the south and the Negev. So the British had all kinds of interests here, and they're the ones that in 1906 are going to make a border between the Egyptian-controlled lands and the northern lands, which is British mandate, which was Turkish, but understand something of the British Empire. They drew the northern boundary, which later became the boundary of the state of Israel and Egypt, in 1906 under the Turks. What? Yes, the British had have colonized Egypt, okay, in order to protect their interests in the
Suez Canal.
And so they needed to control the entire area that had influence on the Suez Canal, and then some. And therefore they drew this imaginary line that had no real political meaning in 1906, because it was an internal division to where Egypt was going to maintain its influence and where it would maintain its influence, and that later became the boundary. We'll talk more about that when we go down to Eilat. Okay? But what's going to be north of that? So the Turks really didn't care. Understand, the Turks were struggling for their basic survival. Okay, they were going through all kinds of internal conflicts, all kinds of economic conflicts, and all kinds of challenges regarding Europe, which eventually led to World War I and their complete, devastation there. They were basically gone after World War I. But until then, it wasn't very important on the Turkish radar. Not that this wasn't. They weren't here. There were Turkish authorities, there were Turkish courts, there were Turkish policemen, but it wasn't a very important place. So, more or less under the nose of the Turks, the Zionists wanted to set up to do something here. They really weren't able to. There was land purchases from Bedouins here and there, a little bit in the Gaza Strip. There was an attempted settlement in a place called Kfar Darom, near Gaza City. There was a Jewish settlement there up until 1948. There were a few other places that was pretty much it. Under the British, there were the British again were not allowing Jews to really set up any proper settlements, but they set up three that was called mitzpim, these outlooks that were set up under the guise of being meteorological sites and scientific sites to test the rainfall, the weather, which again they really were. But the idea was to have that. And one of them is right next to Beersheba, which we didn't visit, but it's on the list. Okay, I'll send you all this information so you're able to follow up. And there were two others that were set up, and these three sites were basically the first footholds that were set up. Later on, a place called Mitzpeh Revivim, Mitzpeh Plugot, and a few others were set up, and they were able to have a foothold of settlement. And what's going to happen, I'm jumping the gun here, but again, we're not going to be visiting these sites we used to in the old trips. One of the sites, Mitzpeh Revivim, had already developed into a beautiful, like desert, like oasis type site. And so when when we do learn about these things in either in the classroom or on the videos, what's going to happen is at the very last stage, after the British give up basically trying to find some type of a solution, they're going to throw the solution to the UN. And there's going to be a joint committee that's going to visit the land of Israel to Palestine, the mandate, and to decide what's going to happen. Again, meaning this is done already since Peel Commission, since 1937, they've been offering these different options. It all failed, but they're going to do a new option. And this new option visited the Negev. When they visited the Negev, a few things happened. First, they were amazed by the extent of the success that these early Jewish settlements had, particularly Mitzpeh Revivim, and they were snubbed by the Bedouins. The Bedouins, who basically made them sleep overnight in that building that we saw, which is now the thing, they treated them very poorly. They basically was PR. They didn't really know what they were doing.
What building? What's the building?
It was like the girls' school building that was now part of the Science Museum. It was on the left as we drove between the city and the Anzac, and all of this sort of gave, you know what? Let's give the Negev to the Jewish country, and that it was, again, there were other considerations as well, but the visit, they said, the visit and to see the success that the Jews had in these early settlements basically made them decide who. And again, the Negev at this point was mostly empty. There were Bedouins, but only a few tens of thousands of Bedouins. Today, we're talking about they've almost double every 20 years the population of Bedouins under Israel. So understand that what you're seeing today is not what was here in 1948 and not 1946. It's very, very different. Okay, so this story of how the early Zionist settlements under the Mandate were able to set up these very fledgling communities that were incredible challenges of nature and of surrounding neighbors that weren't too friendly. They were able to set them up, and that's one of the ways that they were able to have the first footholds in the Negev. Okay, so that is just one other of the stories. One of the places is right over here. It's called Be'er. Get you the exact name. Where's my? I've tried many years to find the something decent in English.
Near the IKEA.
We have a sale, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. They're called they're Mitzpeh Revivim, Mitzpeh Gvulot, and Beit Eshel. Beit Eshel, which is Beit Eshel. Beit Eshel. Eshel is the
tree.
The tree. The tamarisk tree. He mentioned it? He should have. But again, we're passing by now, and it's in today. Beit Eshel is in the municipal boundaries of Beersheba, and you can visit it today.
And it's one of the early Jewish settlements, right?
Yeah, it's one of the 3 mitzpim that were built in, let's say, 1943 under the
Mandate.
Under the British, in order to both. Again, the British were after the white papers and after the restrictions in Jewish building. They didn't want to, they weren't allowing Jews to set up any open settlements here. But again, they were started as these scientific observation sites, and that's the way they were able to establish themselves.
You got to Beersheba towards Ofakim. You can see on the left. It's now there's a school there as well, as you want to see.
Okay, 2 other things I will mention, and then I'm going to sit down and we'll. Yes.
How many do you think Jews were living or were settling in these? I mean, in numbers.
Oh, a few hundred. That was all. Yeah. Now, we're going to pass by 2 things that are somewhat related in just a moment. One is the chemical site of which is just outside of Beersheba. It's one of the most dangerous places in the country. Don't stop there for any long period of time. But they do all kinds of chemical production here. Very important stuff, but a little bit close to it. And then opposite of it, is the statue we saw last time. Ramat Chovav. It's called Ramat Chovav. And opposite Ramat Chovav, they built this obscene statue, which was, again, intended not to... It was intended... Again, it had this very peculiar type of idea of representing the pursuit of man and how man was... And it was supposed to be like the protector of the Bedouins from the chemicals of Neot Chovav, not Ramat Chovav, Neot Chovav. And the Bedouins didn't really get that. Nobody told the Bedouins that. So when the Bedouins saw this statue being built up opposite them, some of them were very insulted and enraged, and they started to hack away at it. And so, and then they said, "Oh, we should fix it." No, that's part of the art. And so it's kind of like they integrated that idea is like, oh, that's what happens to man when you build the statue in the middle of this area, is that people will attack it. So Neot Chovav is the chemical thing at 6 kilometers down over here, and opposite we see this lovely statue which we're going to pass by in just a moment. Okay, so that's another thing that we didn't really point out as we drove by. The last thing I'll point out is the other thing is the solar field and the tower that we're going to be seeing in Ashalim as we pass by. We'll talk about it, and that's about it, and I'm going to let Yoni do the rest. So we'll just point out this lovely statue as we drive by here. You've noticed that one of the features that we're going to see around the country, and sometimes asked about on the exam, are the outdoor sculptures. You don't really need to know all of them, but the most important one, like the ones that were done by Dani Caravan, and the ones that were done by Ezra or Yon, and the ones that really stand out, those things sometimes they can ask about on the exam.
When you say the exam, is it on the oral or the written one?
Mostly written. Yeah, the oral.
Actually, when you mentioned Shishon, does it have to do anything with Lachish? No.
Okay, so even before we see the obscene statue, we already see the solar tower of Ashalim. Take a look at how bright it is. You see it off to the front of the bus. What you don't see is the field of mirrors, hundreds of mirrors that direct the sunlight up straight to the top of the tower. You see it? It's now hidden from our view. We can just see Neot Chovav and its beautiful scenery and smokestacks and lovely things that are polluting the atmosphere. Thank you. All kinds of lovely chemicals. They also dump a lot of garbage over here. A lot of our garbage comes down here. Beware of camels near the roads. Okay.
Waiting for the obscene statue.
Okay, so here is the statue coming up, and after the statue, we'll enjoy the scenery. We'll enjoy the fact that the rest of the country is pouring rain and we don't. And we'll have a little bit more rest before we pick up Yoni. When Yoni gets on, I'm going to tell him to start talking. Because from where we're going to be picked up, this is basically the last time we're going to see these things on the course. The only time.
I think so.
All these buildings.
Where's the obscene statue?
Here it is, right here.
It's coming.
Okay, don't miss it. It's coming up on our
Oh, is that
left.
the obscene Oh goodness.
Smile.
There he is.
Yes.
Isn't that lovely?
With this nose, all of Bedouin culture will be preserved.
So, it's the status of a Bedouin or what?
No. As I said,
Yeah, I think it should be stopped at.
the silly idea of
People that were supposed to meet us here, make it.
Yeah.
We're all here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here. Don't go anywhere else.
Okay. So we have another hour to drive until we pick up Yoni, and then from Yoni until Maktesh Ramon, another like 45 minutes. So you see why we had to leave early. What's that? Request. What's my request?
cold and not heat, please.
Cold and not heat. If shall, but you don't want really cold, but just tipa יותר קליל. חם להם. Okay, I told him, and now we'll wait a few minutes. People complain it's too cold, so it's just the way people are. But at least some fan and whatever. The new buses that don't have windows, it's tricky because you'll always have, people complaining. Okay, are we all settled there? Let's make sure we sit down and get ready for the ride, and we'll get going. Okay, just about 10 minutes before we got here was a place which, had it not been this weather, I may have considered stopping. It's called Shmurat Pura. Shmurat Pura. The Pura Reserve. It's an open site. You wouldn't even notice it most of the year round, but for about 4 or 5 weeks in the winter, not starting now, it's another reason I didn't stop, but in another month from now, it has beautiful, beautiful flowers. Beautiful, beautiful wildflowers. Okay, and you know how excited I get about wildflowers. I just go nuts about wildflowers. But that is a nice place. I have actually stopped there with groups. It's quite amazing to see a place which, again, most of the year is just brown and you wouldn't even blink, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place with all kinds of different flowers. Now, what's special about Pura that you should remember for the exam? It is where Nahal Shikma is. Shikma riverbed. Why is Shikma riverbed so important? Have this been mentioned before? That technically is the border from whatever is north to the Negev, or the south. Okay, that's the border. Again, there are different types of borders we could have. The most important border is going to be the border of precipitation. Okay, where 200 or 300 millimeters of rainfall, that is going to be the most important border, and it will move through, especially in the last 60, 70 years, but more or less that tells us where human beings can survive on a normal, regular basis. There are going to be people living south of this, but they're going to have to do what? Very special things to provide themselves with enough water to sustain themselves. And we're going to learn about the Nabateans who do special things about collecting the water, and about later, about the biblical nations that were here, the Midianites, the Shemonites, the whoeverite, that were here. And they were able to sustain themselves and so on. The people traveling and the merchants that were walking through here, maybe even from the time of Solomon and so on. But that's not civilization. That's not living. That's not settlement. In order to live, you need at least more than 300 millimeters of rainfall a year to have any type of subsistence farming on a regular basis, consistent basis. Even 300 is very, very difficult. Okay, you need 400 or 500 in order to have, let's say a significant population. But
200 or 300?
300.
it's going to be 300. Okay, but from 200 to 300, you can still grow barley. So we'll call that frontier. Okay, the desert frontier in Hebrew is called Sfar Midbar. So you can have a small village and you can have a little bit of farming. So it's not technically desert. It's mostly grazing pastures for goats, sheep, and whatever, but it's technically desert. Okay. You will find some books will go back and forth, but that depends on what type of civilization, what type of settlement you're expecting to have. If you can't have that, you call it desert. So you'll see a little bit of discrepancy within that as you go from region to region. But okay, can you just let Yoni know that we've left? I told him approximately, but if you tell him now that we're leaving Kama, he can figure out when he has to be there. He's still at home. He gets to sleep in this morning, and he shows up at there. He drives his car to Steboker, and he'll meet us there. I think actually he probably came with his wife. His wife is a researcher at Moreshet Ben Gurion at the Ben Gurion. So she's doing research projects there. Anyway, so we're going down south towards Maktesh Ramon. Now, I'm not going to ask who watched all the videos. You know who you are, but those of you that watch all the videos and have a good sense of geology will definitely benefit from watching it and will better appreciate what we're going to see today, because what we're going to see is going to be one of the most amazing geological phenomena in the region. Okay, you kind of know what Maktesh is because you got the explanation of Itzik. The issue with that was, number one, it was the first story we basically did. I mean, other than it was very early on, and you were still sort of in a daze, and I understand that. So what we're going to do today, we're going to start with the first thing we're going to do when we get there is go to the bathroom. That's the first thing. The second thing we're going to do is not go into the well, actually it's going to depend on the weather and the visitor center. What we ideally will go up on the lookout over the Maktesh, and Yoni will give you a full introduction to everything we're going to be doing today. Then we're going to go into the visitor center, which is dedicated to both the history of Maktesh Ramon, the geological history of Maktesh Ramon, which is very useful in understanding everything around us, but it was also dedicated to Ilan Ramon, the astronaut who tragically was killed in the space shuttle Columbia. Now, his name is Ramon, and the name of the Maktesh is Ramon. That is a complete coincidence, which is going to be very confusing. But they decided to dedicate it to his memory, and so we have both of those things. Sometimes, if I'm really tight with the group, I will basically. There's a way to only do they don't like it, but you can do only the introduction to the Maktesh. But we're going to see the whole thing today. Then we'll do a little bit of intro of the Maktesh Ramon area, and then we're going to have lunch. Lunch is going to be early, like about 11:30ish. Okay, so just be ready for that. I think I wrote that on the thing. So just be ready for an early lunch, because I want to do the lunch already up at Maktesh Ramon to maximize our time down. Once we go down into Maktesh Ramon, there's nothing. There's no reception. There's no food. There's just a little bit of water here and there, but we're going to be basically cut off, and we'll spend as much time as we can in the Maktesh, visiting 4 or 5 different sites. If we have more time, we can add one. If the weather doesn't allow us, the weather at one point will mean that we don't necessarily can't visit, but we can't go with a bus. So have to get off and walk. So ironically, if there was rain in the last 24 hours, we might have more walking to do. But it might be nice. It's beautiful. It's amazing to see it with the rain, because you're going to see plants that have grown in the last 24 hours, which is amazing. After a rainfall, that it changes in 24 hours. 24 hours. It's an amazing thing to see, and hopefully we'll be able to. Yoni is great to do that. So that's the plan for there. What else am I going to add right now? I'm going to talk about a few different phenomena that exist in the Negev that, looking at the overviewing, like everything we've seen, we're not necessarily going to visit any of these things directly. Now, the Nabateans, which if it wasn't Christmas, we would have visited one of their sites on the Ben Gurion day. We would go on to Ufda. We will deal with on a separate day, but we will touch the Nabateans today. We're going to visit one of the sites along the Nabatean spice routes, went through Maktesh, Ramon, and so Yoni will deal with that. So we're going to deal with Nabateans. But I want to go back farther in history to two other time periods. Actually, three that are going to be very important in the Negev. One I mentioned already. I just want to point it out again, and that is the Chalcolithic period. You remember we spoke about the Chalcolithic period, okay? And we said that there was a very unique, and I think even Yuda maybe mentioned it. But, we don't go see it. There was a unique culture that existed in the Chalcolithic period in the Negev in the two places, Beersheba Basin and the Uvda Basin. Uvda is right north of Eilat, and we're going to be visiting it, hopefully with Yoni, in March when we go down to Eilat. Okay? Another time period is, let's say, also on the border between Chalcolithic and Early Bronze, near Maktesh Ramon, and Yoni will be talking about. I mean, there were people living around there that were still kind of clueless about, who they were, what they were doing, but there were prehistoric settlements around there. But the main thing I'm just gonna mention now, and I'll send you a little bit of literature about it, because we don't really visit any sites of it, but there are over 24 sites that we find from the very early biblical period. These sites which are somewhere between a fortress and like a farmhouse, and they vary between how fortified they are and how
it's all include.
Yeah, right.
All include, yeah.
All inclusive, yes.
The all inclusive breakfast, lunch, dinner,
Full board.
full
They
board,
have a visitor center. It's okay to go.
full board.
Full board, water board.
So, Asher was telling us about the three
Okay. Asher mentioned the three early Jewish Zionist villages, Bet Eshel, Revivim, Gvulot. We're talking much further north, okay? Until the independence of Israel, the most part of the Negev was not settled by Jewish villages. The southernmost villages were Revivim, Gvulot, Bet Eshel, but all the three are not far away from Beersheba. Revivim, a little down, like Revivim is a little bit closer to where we are, but it's not in this area. It's a totally different geographical area, 45 minutes, maybe 1 hour north from here. You can see that January, the valleys are very green. Okay, as you can see all the little bushes, very green in the rivers. Okay, for example, that river, okay, you can see that all the area is green in the valley. Once in a while you'll be able to see Bedouin bringing their sheep over here, okay, shepherd, sometimes camels. That road is very dangerous with camels. Okay, every year 3 to 5 accidents are between cars to camels along that road. Yeah, because the camels are, walking around,
What's that
eating
road called?
During the night.
especially during the night.
What road?
Which road is
Road
that?
number 40. Road 40, that's the second road between Beersheba to Eilat. the main road is road number 90 via the Dead Sea and Araba Valley. Okay. The program for today, we will start from the Mitzpe Ramon overview point, the most popular tourist destination. All tourists who are traveling to Eilat or traveling to Mitzpe Ramon will stop there. It's a very popular stop. There is a coffee place, restroom. It's also very convenient. There is a good restaurant over there, so it's a good place for tourists. It's like, you know, a photo shoot up, you know, like a place. Over there also there is a very popular attraction to do rappelling, okay, cliff rappelling without any hike. It's very convenient. The tourists can come, coffee, restaurant, restroom, view, rappelling, very convenient. Very, you know, also like tourism friendly. Yeah. And next to the viewpoint, the visitor center, we will visit the visitor center. The visitor center also not only dedicated to the landscape of the Ramon crater, it also dedicated to Ilan and Asaf Ramon. Ilan Ramon was the Israeli Air Force commander of the Ramon Air Force Base, and a few years after he was the first Israeli astronaut at the Columbia space shuttle. We're talking about 2003. And also to his son Asaf, who was also a pilot in the Israeli Air Force. And after the two of them died, Ilan Ramon in the Columbia space shuttle accident on the way coming back, and Asaf Ramon during a training, the family asked Israel Rashut HaTeva, the nature parks, to honor their names in the visitor center, and because that their last name and the Ramon crater last name is the same name, it came together. So the first part of the visit to the visitor center is about their story. The second part will talk about geology, environment, ecology, etc. On the right side, that Air Force base on the mountain, it's an Air Force Sky Radar unit, another beautiful vineyard, and another olive farm. Okay, this area is excellent for olives, for grapes, because of the altitude, because of the cold, because of the dry. Less bacteria and less viruses attack the fruit here, not like in Jerusalem mountain that the farmers need all the time to fight, to fertilize against the bacteria. And that big buildings, that's a training school of the army. It's called Bahad Echad, IDF base number 1. That's the main training, that's the main officer school of the Israeli army. And it's a very big base. For those of you who are looking for architecture, that base, as you can see it from the road, it's the same as the memorial monument of Chativat Negev Brigade on the main junction coming into Beersheba. It's also the same design like the old central bus station of Israel. Beersheba bus station, Dimona, Ashkelon bus station, Ben Gurion University architecture look the same. We're talking about the late 60s and early 70s of the State of Israel. The name of that architecture is called brutalism. Brutalism, it means we have cement, we can do whatever we would like with cement. We can build like tall buildings, we can build crazy shapes like triangle, we can build circles, dome with cement. It's like, here we are with the modern technology. We can shape any design we like with cement. Brutalism, it means we're brutal, we're strong, and we can do whatever we like in front of nature. So also the Yad Vashem Memorial Holocaust Museum is the same design. Like that, you see that cement, you don't color that cement. Brutalism, that's how they call it. Brutalist. Brutalism. So welcome to Mitzpe Ramon. Okay. Welcome to Mitzpe Ramon. There are lots of solar power energy at the city. You can see on your left a solar field. On the right side, that's the entrance. On the right side, it's an entrance to an artist village, kind of. It used to be an industrial area. During the 80s, many of the companies fabric. It was a popular fabric textile companies. During the 80s, many of them shut down, and private people opened small businesses, coffee, Airbnbs, a little khan, camp lodge in that area, galleries. So those of you who want to take your tourists to, something new, you can go over there. Like little bakeries, little coffee shops. It's nice for evening time. It's part of the town of Mitzpe Ramon. אנחנו כאן ישר. On the right side, that's a business center. You have several fast food restaurants, 2 hotels over here. Even Derech Hotel and Sukim Hotel.
Car chargers. Yeah.
Not be successful.
אנחנו כאן בבקשה ימינה ועולים למרכז מבקרים. הנה כאן ימינה ומיד שמאלה. ימינה ושמאלה. תודה רבה.
That's the Bereshit Hotel.
Bereshit Hotel on your left.
Bereshit Hotel. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, Bereshit Hotel is like
Very expensive.
12 years ago maybe.
Yeah. Bereshit Hotel. But it has a view out to the whole canyon.
It's an expensive one. I was told that it is very cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. It's forward. That speed is the view, it stays the view. Okay. We will get off the bus for more than about 2 hours. About 2 hours. Okay, it's cold outside.
Cold?
Cold, yeah, it's cold. It's like 12.
If I just press, I'm already in the folder.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Hi, good morning. Shalom. Boker Tov. Hi. Okay. Hi, good morning. Shalom.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Yoni. Thank you, Bassam. Thank you very much. So we're heading south towards Mitzpe Ramon on road number 40, the secondary road between Be'er Sheva to Eilat. On your left, you can see right now the Tzin Valley, the beginning part of Tzin Valley. On the plateau, on the left side on the plateau, Midreshet Ben Gurion. Midreshet Ben Gurion. You've been there, okay? the grave site of David and Paul Ben Gurion. You can see right now on your left Tzin Valley and the Tzin River. That is the beginning of the Tzin Valley. From here the Tzin Valley continues all the way down east towards the Arava Valley. Okay, that's the shade, that's the watershed. That road is the watershed between, not exactly, because the watershed is on the mountain on the right side. You can see the electric line. Actually, on the right side, the highest mountain, which is like few meters from us, that's the watershed between what goes to the Mediterranean through Nahal Absor versus what's all the water that goes to the Dead Sea via Tzin Valley. Once we cross the Tzin Valley, it means we moved from the northern part of the Negev to the central part of the Negev. Okay? Generally, we divide the Negev into 3 parts. Between Beersheba to Sde Boker, northern part of the Negev, Beersheba to Tzin River, north. Between the Tzin River to Faran River, central part of the Negev, and between the Faran River all the way to the city of Eilat, the southern part of the Negev. Okay? So right now we're crossing from the north part to the central part, the Tzin River on the left side. Okay, we will cross the Tzin River through the road. Okay, the Tzin River will be crossed the road 2 times before we'll get to Mitzpe Ramon. Okay, on the right side, one of the smallest Bedouin village and one of the oldest traditional Bedouin village in the Negev, Aboda or Abade, named after the historical Nabatean city of Ofdat. So the Bedouin village over here, they preserved the name of the ancient city of Ofdat, and they call themselves Abada or Abuda, okay, depends how you pronounce it, named after the city of Ofdat that you can see in a few minutes. You'll be able to see on the front left side. Over here, it's right on the right side, red and blue color buildings. It's a children village, educational children village named Shanti Bamidbar. Children from 1st grade until 12th grade were coming from no family background, children under a higher risk of violations, exportation, drugs, alcohol. Not only Jewish kids, Jewish, Muslim kids, Christian kids. Okay, it's called Shanti Bamidbar.
It's a governmental one, right?
It's a governmental, yeah. It's a governmental boarding school with a village.
Nice.
Along the road there are several farms. Most of them hold vineyards. You'll be able to see vineyards once in a while, modern vineyards. Modern vineyard, because the modern vineyard are located on the historical terraces from the time of the Nabatean. Okay, next time you're traveling to the Negev area, you will visit the Nabatean cities of Dat, Nitzana, Shifta, Mamshit on a different tour. You will see, we will see it also on the road right now. You will see that the ancient Nabatean terraces and water system, water tunnel, water aqueduct left behind for decades, and the modern vineyards are located on the same historical parts from the time of the Nabatean. So in some of the farms, they're using the same technology from the time of the Roman Byzantine era. The geological formation over here, as you can see, it's a white color rock. Okay, you can see it's very white. It's chalk. Okay, chalk rock. If it's chalk rock, you can understand chalk is very easily to remove. It's easy to sculpture. It's easy to chisel the chalk, and that's the main reason why the Nabatean.
Yo, can you turn the volume down a
Yes,
little bit?
that is the main reason why the Nabatean decided to open water cistern in the chalk rock of the Tin Valley. Right now on the right side, take a look to the right side, you'll be able to see a big holes in the lower part of the mountain. Looks like a cave right now. You see it's a cave?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Those are not regular cave, water cistern. The Nabatean took the natural Tin River. Once the Tin River carries water with a heavy flash flood, they tunneled the water, and they tunneled the water into the cisterns. On your left side, the city of Avdat on top of the mountain. Avdat, named after one of the Nabatean first kings. We're talking about from the 2nd century before the Common Era, 2,200 years ago. And the city was abandoned in the late Byzantine era, beginning of Muslim era. We're talking about the 7th century. So for about 900 years, there was a very important civilization, a very important city on top of that mountain. Between the 3rd century to the 6th century, the city of Avdat flourished. Economy was very good. We're talking about approximate of 4,000, 5,000 residents.
Wow.
In such a city, in Avdat. Another vineyard on your left side. Okay. We're climbing from 500 meters above sea level, the area of Sde-Boker, which is 500 meters above sea level, and we're driving along road number 40 all the way to Mitzpe Ramon to 900 meters above sea level, which is higher than Jerusalem. The highest point, the highest summit at Mitzpe Ramon is 1,043 meters above sea level. Mount Ramon. Mount Ramon, it's outside of the city. Okay, it's not in the city of Mitzpe Ramon, it's not far away, it's like a few kilometers on the west side of the city. 1,043 meters above sea level, which is 200 meters more than Jerusalem. It means that the winter at Mitzpe Ramon is very cold but dry. The climate of Mitzpe Ramon is cold and dry. Okay, you will feel the humid, which is very dry. Okay, it's colder. It's cold. You know, we call it desert cold. In Jerusalem, the cold is more wet. The humid in Jerusalem is about 40%. Okay, Mediterranean weather. Mitzpe Ramon humid is 15%. Okay, very dry. The city of Mitzpe Ramon, named after the Arabic name, Wadi Roman. Wadi Roman, the name of the ancient trade route. The trade route between Petra, or the Nabatean kingdom of Jordan, the Nabatean kingdom, to Gaza, and the trade route passed through Wadi Roman. We think that Wadi Roman preserved the name after the Roman Empire, the Wadi of the Roman trade. That's the reason why they named the Wadi Wadi Roman. The state of Israel changed the name Wadi Roman to Nahal Ramon, and based on Nahal Ramon, the city Mitzpe Ramon. Mitzpe in Hebrew, overlooking, okay, observation. So all the places named Mitzpe in Israel, it's observation. So Mitzpe Ramon, because we overlooking at the Ramon Valley. Mitzpe, it's like Tzofe, like I'm watching, observatory, overlooking, viewpoint, Mitzpe. On the right side, there is one of the biggest Israeli Air Force base. Ramon, the name Ramon repeats every place here is after Ramon. Ramon Air Force Base. In the city of Mitzpe Ramon, there are 3 different hotels with the name Ramon. Ramon Inn, Ramon Suites, Ramon Club. So, if you get a program from the tour agent that tells you you're going to Ramon Hotel, you just need to make sure if it's Ramon Suites, Ramon Inn, Ramon Hostel, Ramon Suites, Ramon Inn, Ramon B&B. Okay? Yeah. Ramon Prison, of course.
Another option.
Another option. Another option for your tourist. Guys.
I saw you on the little cubes in front of the laptop video screen through the
that was you.
program 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I remember you only inside, inside inside the frame, the Zoom frame. So shalom, nice to meet you. My name is Yoni. I came this morning from behind the mountain, down in the valley, from the Arava Valley, okay? And it's interesting to tell you that every water drop, every rain that drops here at the Ramon crater, at the end will finish in front of my house. Wow. Because I live in front on the Arava Valley, on the Arava River. So I live right behind the far mountains, deep below. We came on a beautiful day. I hope later on the clouds will clear, the skies will be clear from clouds, so we'll be able also to see the red mountains, Arei Edom, Jabal Dom, Arei Edom, the red mountains from here. Where are we? We're at the Maktesh Ramon observation point. In Hebrew it's called Mitzpor Ramon or Mitzpor Maktesh Ramon. In front of us, the big crater, Maktesh, the biggest crater, the biggest geological rock formation, or the biggest erosional crater in the world. In Israel, we have 3 popular craters that we know. The small crater, not far away from Dimona, the great crater in front of the city of Yerucham, and the Ramon crater right over here. I will.
This is Anak, yes.
Yeah, this is, we can call it the giant one, or the Ramon crater. On your left, the luxury Israel Bereshit Hotel. Okay, behind it, you can see the trees. That's a campground or like a khan, a camp lodge. Okay, behind you, the city of Mitzpe Ramon. It's a very small town. We're talking about no more than 6,000 residents. It's not even a town. This is what we call them a municipality. It's not a ir, it's ayara. Okay, they don't have like a moetzet ir, they have like a moetzet ayara. It's like a small little town, no more than 6,000 people. The Ramon Visitor Center of the Rashut HaTeva, the restaurant I told you, and this is on a regular tourism day. On a regular tourism day, this place is one of the most popular places for tourists to stop. On a regular tourist day, you will never be here alone. All that area will be a group after group after group of tourists. Right over there, do you see the blue signs? Okay, the blue signs right here, down below, right here. That's an official rappelling site. Okay, easy. You just need to give a call to one of the tourist attraction companies, and there are several, many of them. You just Google rappelling Maktesh Ramon and will be jumped several tourist attractions here in Mitzpe Ramon. Okay, make an appointment and they will come over here. there is a place here for 6 or 7 lines at the same time. So you can bring a big group, and you know, after half an hour, 45 minutes, you know, because in tourism, in our classic tourism product, everything need to be chick-chack, Rashi, chick-chack, because they need to be on time for lunch, they need to be on time for check-in, check-out. So there are 6 lines for rappelling, and they bring all the instructor with them, and it's like 20 meters or 30 meters down, and there is a short path coming back here. Very popular.
When are we going to repel
Bring your own gear and repel.
Yeah. Bring your own gear, do it yourself.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, really.
You meet over here or you go there?
Yeah, you meet over here.
Meet here.
You meet here. The instructor will be waiting for you over here. And from the lower part where you finish the rappelling, it's like a 3-minute path back here. You'll see it later.
They're open now?
What?
They're open now?
It's open. It's open 24/7. You can do it free.
I could go
You
now.
can do it.
Let's go.
You can do it free of charge. Bring your gear with you. Bring your own gear, or if you don't have your own gear, you can book from one of the companies. Okay? Because it's not allowed to rappel wherever you like. Okay? You're not in Israel in the nature park. You allowed to do rappelling only on official approved site by the nature park. Otherwise, you can get a fine. Okay? So where are we? We're right over here at Mitzpe Ramon, at the Maktesh Ramon. Here is the city. Here is the city. You can see over here a diagram or illustration map of the Negev desert, of the northern and central part only, not the southern part, north and central only. You can see the Ramon crater. Here is the Ramon crater. Okay, follow the shade. The Ramon crater. You can see the city of Mitzpe Ramon. We're standing right over here, and you're watching the landscape exactly as the map pointed. Okay, east over there. Okay, and the mountain, the isolated mountain over there. There's like a flat, isolated mountain over there. That's the shape of the heart. As you can see, the crater has a heart shape. Okay? Okay, a heart shape. That's the heart-shaped mountain. As you can see over there, the isolated mountain over there. That's the shape. Between, on the north part of the mountain and on the south part of the mountain, there are 2 valleys. You can see the 2 valleys. That's the valleys of the shape. The right shape and the left part between, on the 2 sides of the mountain, as you can see. The valley of Ardon and the valley of Mahmal. Valley.
The map should be
The map should be a little bit like this. Yeah. You know, it's not a map, it's a diagram, it's,
No, I
you know,
understand.
it's illustration. Okay? The valley of Ardon and the valley of Mahmal. The valley of Ardon, the valley of Mahmal.
Done with a D.
Ardon. 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 Valley of Ardon, valley of Mahmal. Beside the 3 large craters, small crater next to Dimona, large crater next to Yerucham, and Ramon giant crater, there are also 2 small craters under the name Arif. Arif, you can see them over here. 2 small craters. They're not far from where we are, but it's very far to get there because there is no road to the Arif craters. Okay, it's a 2 hours jeep tour from road number 40 over here. Okay, from that road, this is road number 40, that black line. From road number 40, it's 2 hours jeep tour only to get to the base of the mountain of the crater. So you can see over here 5 craters. The northern part of the Negev, from Beersheba, in the valley of Beersheba, until the valley of Tzin. This is the big valley of Tzin. So all that part is north Negev, valley of Tzin. From the valley of Tzin to Wadi Faran, which is over here, that part is the central part of the Negev.
Where does the
Can you
central
show us
part
where
end?
Route 40
The
goes
central
to?
part ends at Faran.
Faran.
Faran. Between Tzin to Faran.
Route 40 where we just passed?
Route 40. This is the road you drove. You drove from Beersheba. You drove this morning from Beersheba. You passed by the big army base. You turn left at Mashabei Sadeh.
That's right.
You turned right at Sde Boker Junction. You picked me up in front of Kibbutz Sde Boker. We drove next to all the army bases over here on the flat plateau of that, and we came to Mitzpeh Ramon. Road number 40 continued down the crater, down the cliff, as you can see over here. On your left, you can see the road down the cliff to the Maktesh Valley, up outside from the Maktesh on the flat mountain, and all the way down to Faran River.
Yeah, you said around here there's a Jeep.
Yeah, Jeep tour to Arif.
Is it a very technical Jeep tour? Or
It's a technical Jeep tour. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a technical Jeep tour. It's a technical Jeep tour. So that's, just to have a general orientation of where we are. What is a Maktesh? What is a crater? What is a crater? What is a Maktesh? Maktesh, or the 5 craters over here, are erosional craters. Erosional because of erosia. In Hebrew, erosia. In English, erosion. In Hebrew, erosia, blaya. Blaya, for those who speak Hebrew, blaya. Why only in Israel and Sinai we have craters from the same reason, from the same erosion crater? Why only here? Because to have a crater like this one, we need to have several conditions that not only all the several conditions need to take place, they also need to take place by that time, one after another, on a specific order. If one of the conditions is not in the specific order, we won't get a crater. Okay? Here are the conditions. First, we must to have a sandstone in the bottom. Sandstone in the bottom. We're talking about 200 million years ago, 300 million years ago, before the Mediterranean Sea was a Mediterranean Sea, before we had the Great African Fault. All this area, the entire Middle East area, was one massive land. There was an ancient ocean far in the left, west, northern part. That ocean was Titus Ocean. All the material, all the debris, all the material erode from the area of Arab today, the area of Iraq, the area of Iran today, before the Arabian Gulf was exist, before the Red Sea was exist. It was one big piece of land, and all that land was in a shape into the ancient Titus Ocean. At that time, 200 million years ago, massive rivers carried sand, carried dry erosion. You need to imagine massive rivers like the Amazon River of today, like the Mississippi River, like the Nile River. Try to imagine a very massive river. All those massive rivers carried a massive erosion from the east towards the west. All that erosion ended over here, and that's what created the first layer and the first condition of the sandstone. That is first rule. Second rule, I'm sorry?
Was the rise an island in the Titus Sea, or was it
In the land, inland, yeah. The second rule is the ocean rose. The ocean rose, and the ocean, when the ocean rose, the ocean creates different rock. The different rock is limestone, chalk, all the ocean sedimentary rock. So the ocean sedimentary rock based on top of the sandstone. That's the second rule. As you can see with your eyes right over here. Okay, what is the difference between a lecture to a tour? I can give that information in a class. Instead of papers, it will be a PowerPoint presentation. No, I want you to see the land. I want you to see the view. Look at the view. Look at the road. You see the road starts from a hard rock, from the limestone. And once the road goes down and down, there is a curve over there. 3 cars right now at the curve. There is like a white, pinky, brown color. Okay, you can see the white, pinky, brown color also over here. If you stand here safely, please. If you stand here safely, you can see down here below. You can see a cliff, a sharp cliff with a colored layers. White, yellow, red, kind of orange on the sharp cliff. You can see? This is the layers of the sandstone. The sharp cliff is the layers of the sandstone. Every place you see inside the cliff, also over here. If you look down there, you see white, pink. This is the sandstone. On top of the sandstone, we have the limestone, the sediment. Okay? In most of the place, you don't see it. Why we don't see it? Because the limestone covered the sandstone. That was the second rule. The third rule will be, what will be the third process? The third process will be the tectonic movement. The tectonic movement, the rise of the cliff, the rise of the layers based on tectonic shape, the tectonic
movement.
Platform. Do you remember the tectonic? You've studied geology a little bit, yes. So the tectonic plate, all the time, all the plates move, okay? And because the plates moves, in some places we have rise of the layers, and the rise of the layers create a mountain range, okay? If I'll try to imagine that mountain range with that diagram, we're talking about 80 million years ago. 70 million years ago, you can see the mountain made 70 million years ago. For example, here is one mountain. Here is one mountain. Here is one mountain. Here is a valley. Here is a second mountain. Here is a valley. Okay? And here is another mountain. Okay, so we have a mountain, a valley, a mountain, valley. Mountain, valley, do you get it? Okay, mountain, valley, mountain, valley. The mountains you can see in the diagram. One mountain, second mountain, third mountain, fourth mountain. Between each mountain we have a valley. So try to imagine the mountains are like, during the entire day, there will be Transportation, yeah. You know, 3 things disturb the tour guide. Okay? Comforts disturb the tour guide. Cute babies all the time disturb the tour guide, and cute animals. Imagine the mountains are like baguettes. Okay? One baguette, another baguette, and between the baguette there are valleys. Okay? We're on top of that mountain right now. Mount Ramon is one of those baguettes. That's the third. And what will be the fourth system? It will be the rift. The rift. Where is the rift? The Dead Sea and Arava Fault. The Dead Sea and Arava Fault, I have a good illustration for you to explain about the Dead Sea and Arava Fault. Okay. The rift, the Dead Sea and Arava Fault, let's orient it. Okay, now it's oriented.
Oh, very
Okay.
nice.
Here is the rift. Okay. And the rift, it's a 3D rift. It's not only up and down, it's also north and south, and also east and west. So between the Jordanian mountain, the Red Mountain, Moab Mountain, and between the Negev Mountain, we have a new valley, a transformed. That transformed valley creates a very deep, very low, very deep valley. Between Mount Ramon, 1,000 meters above sea level, to the Arava Dead Sea Valley, 400 meters below, we have a very big, steep topographic slope. It means that all the erosion from the mountains goes directly into the valley, very strong. The erosion starts because of the Dead Sea and Arava transform, and then
Between the Arava and the what?
between the Arava and
Dead
the
Sea.
mountains,
Which mountain? These mountains.
Negev mountains and the Edom mountains. Back again. First, sandstone. Second, limestone. Third,
Tectonic
mountain.
plates.
Okay, four, the reef transformed, and the fifth one is the erosion. Because of the erosion, because of the mountain, the high part, the summit of the mountain is limestone. Once the limestone on the top of the mountain erodes because of the erosion, what exposed below?
Sandstone.
The sandstone. The sandstone is very soft, easily removed rock. Once we have a very deep place like the Dead Sea and Arava Valley, all the sandstone removed quickly, and instead of a mountain, we have a valley inside the mountain. Okay? We have a valley inside the mountain. So as you can see,
No, it's gone.
as you can see, the crater, it's a valley like a bath. It's a valley inside a mountain. From over here, I would like you to imagine, look at the shape of the layers of the limestone. Take the shape of the layers of the limestone, okay, from the platform over here, and try to connect it to the other side shape. Do you see the last part of the crater in front of us, on the other side of the Ramon crater, on the other side of the valley? You see the mountain in the shade. There is a beautiful mountain in the shade, right below the clouds. Do you see the shape of the layers?
No.
Try to imagine theoretically a line between that mountain over there to this mountain right over here, and try to create the theoretical line of how that mountain looked like before the erosion. Now there is a big question. Where is all the material that was removed? All the material is the erosion, conglomerate erosion in the Arava Valley. The Arava Valley today is 100 meters below sea level, 200 meters below sea level, 300 meters below sea level. Because all the Arava Valley is filled with 6 or 7 kilometers deep. 6 or 7 kilometers deep of material removed from the craters. How do we know that? Because remember I told you the entire area was covered with limestone. Okay, so if we're going to do a geological research and we're going to drill down the ground inside the Arava Valley, right over here, I wanna dig down the ground in the Arava Valley, right over here, and I wanna search the same layer. I wanna search that rock specific. Remember, rocks are always, when the rock's created, they keep the same layer, they keep the same level. I'm looking for the same level of the limestone in the Arava Valley, under my house where I live. We will need to dig, to drill 6 or 7 kilometers deep.
Oh, to find the limestone.
Okay? I would like you to look. This is the geological rock layers of the Israel Negev desert. Okay? This is the geological of the rock layer of the Israel Negev desert. We're standing right now on top of the yellow layer. Okay? We're standing on top of the yellow layer. Below us, the red, pink layer are here. Okay? In the Arava Valley, you stand only here. Because all the material from here covered the valley. The Arava Valley was a very deep valley. That's the Arava Valley. But all came down and filled the Arava with what we call conglomerate. Conglomerate is the debris and all the rocks and all the sand removed from the craters. So I will summarize. Okay, 5 or 4 main reasons: sandstone, limestone on top, tectonic shape to create a mountain, a rift. Okay, very deep valley, erosion, remove the top of the limestone, remove the sandstone, and we have the beautiful craters in front of us.
Cool.
Nachal Ramon, Wadi Ramon, you can see the Wadi Ramon. Wadi Ramon, you can see the green line of the trees. All the green dots you see are acacia trees. Acacia trees, Etz Shita in Hebrew. In Arabic, Sihal. Sahel, I'm sorry.
Sahel is a plural.
Sihal is a plural. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Sihal or Sahul?
No, Suhul.
Suhul.
Sahel was Suhul.
Sahel was Suhul. In Hebrew, Shita. In English, Acacia or Acacia. Okay, in Arabic, Sihal, Suhul. You can see the valley with all the green line. That's Wadi Roman. Okay, you can see the valley all the way towards the east. All the black color you see in the valley. Once in a while you see black rocks.
Yeah.
All the blacks you see, do you see the black over here? You see the black in the diagram over here? What are the black? Thank you. Those are magmatic, not flint, magmatic rock.
Really?
It's lava. Thank you. Magmatic rock. Magmatic rock. So in some places you can see the magmatic rock in the bottom of the crater. So all the black, it's not only basalt, it can be basalt, it can be granite, rhyolite, metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock. Ignition, yeah, another name. Shut up. Ancient volcano, non-active anymore. Ancient volcano that's not active anymore. Guys, 3-4 questions and then we will go to visitor center. Yes.
Sorry, I think I followed well during the presentation. Thank you. But I want just to understand or to see if I understand correctly that Arava Valley was 6 or 7 kilometers deep, and then it was filled by the erosion and the material that went up from here to
Perfect.
which makes it on the rock, let's say, level.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, if you have, so sandstone, understandable, it is eroding very quickly. But you have on top of soft sandstone, hard limestone.
Thank you.
How it is?
Thank you, great question. How the erosion succeeded to go through the hard limestone? The hard limestone started from the top. It's like you bake a cake in the oven. Where the cake starts to raise up, on the top of the cake you have a crack. That's exactly what happened to the limestone when the mountain started. When the mountain started, the mountain goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And here, if I'll continue, I will get a crack in in the paper.
And that happens with water.
And that happens, and it's a combination. It happens with water of erosion and with also a physical. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another question? Yes.
Is this still happening now?
Yes, thank you. It's still happening now. Look at the hotel. Look at the hotel. Do you see that column with a big crack?
Wow.
Right in front of us, below the balcony of the hotel, there is a little balcony.
See the crack in the big rock with a crack.
What is it?
There's a crack. There's a crack
You
there.
know what? I'm not worried to the Lewis family that are the owners of the Israel chain, one of the biggest hotels companies in Europe and in the Middle East. Don't worry, yeah? They have more than 300 hotels only in Spain and Portugal.
Oh my
And
goodness.
more than 30 hotels in Israel. So, okay?
They'll be okay.
What about
So,
The people something else.
that crack tells us that the crater still erode. The erosion still going on. The erosion still going on. When there are flash flood, the flash flood still work, and still all the material goes to the Arava Valley. It's all still
Flash
on
floods or
process.
something else.
On
That's it.
process.
From where the flash floods come.
From where the flash floods come? Thank you. The flash floods come from the rain, but you're asking if this is the top, how it happened. Erosion takes place not only because of water, also because of physical condition. The slope of the mountain all the time wants to
Pull.
go down, to go down. And this is what we call physical erosion. We know we have physical erosion, we have water erosion, we have chemical erosion. Okay. Also, all the cracks you see on the rock are part of the erosion. The mountain still under very intense pressure of the first mountain that was created. Guys, from over here, yeah, last question, and from after that question, we'll go to the visitor center.
Why is there no?
Thank you. In some places, there are still limestone down there that didn't remove fully. But as you can see, if you'll stand here, you can see the large pieces of limestone, like giant pieces of limestone that removed from the cliff and fell down. As you can see, this is what we call it boulders. Okay, bouldering in Hebrew, boulders. You can see them like a Lego, like someone, like a Lego piece. From over here to the visitor center, please. The entrance to the visitors hall. Yeah, there's about hundreds, 500, 600 ibex. In the area of Debokir, another 200, 300 ibex. In the Gedi, the Dead Sea and Gedi area, another 300, 400 ibex. Ibex is also the symbol of the Israeli Nature Authority. It's a symbol of a success of protecting an animal that is a red species extinguished.
Extinction.
Israel succeeded to protect the ibex. The ibex are live in a family of female and babies only, while the male are solistics. The male are alone separately. During ibex in English, I think IBEX. IBEX. The ibex are separately. The female and the babies all together, all the females and all the babies together, like in a kindergarten, like a babysitter, okay? And the male by themselves, solely, alone, isolated. During the summer, around July, August, September, the male are fighting one against each other with their front legs and with the horns, fighting once again each other, fighting on the female, They're fighting like, the last, the last standing win. And if there are two fighting, one will quit. They're not killing each other. Okay, one will quit. He will get, you know, some injuries, and another one will go to the competition. The one quit, another one will go to the competition. In the end, the winner takes it all. I take all. I see your smiles, yeah. I see your smiles. Like American boxing match. The male who wins takes all the female in the area. It means the ibex have like a several zone. How they mark their zone? They mark their zone with their P and their kaki, with their P. This is a kaki, ibex kaki, and ibex pipi. By the smell of the pheromones, they mark their territory. The male who win the game will take all the female, and all the babies from the next generation will be from the same male. And every summer it's changed. Why? That's the system. Because the animal keep the best profile genetic, the strongest one from every summer to every summer. Babies, the female will give birth around March, okay? And the gdi, the baby ibex, around March, April, will start enjoy the landscape, the nature.
They're only around Jordan, Sinai,
and Israel. Yeah, the Nubic ibex. This specific Nubic ibex. This specific Nubic ibex only in. There are different ibex. Different ibex, but this specific ibex only in this area. How do I recognize a female? The female horns are smaller and shorter. The female back area is more chubby, more fat, as you can see. More fat, more chubby. I think that female, I think so. She looks pregnant. That female, she looks pregnant, but I'm not sure. The right one looks pregnant, but I'm not sure. The back side of the female will be more chubby, more big. The male will have, very easy to recognize the male. The male will have long beard, very big horns. The male horns will go so deep, it will go all the way to their back.
But they are straight.
Yeah, it will go all the way to their back.
But they are not like this.
No, they're like
this.
Yeah, okay, like this. And they're faster, they're stronger, and thinner. Okay, let's go to the video
Is that a male around or he's touching?
I don't see. Yeah. I mean, we were on the boat when whoever was the prime minister candidate was shot. It's pretty intense. This camera's not so great in low light. Well, now the timer's done.
At least the timer was working.
Yeah, the timer would. Oh, here it comes.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. According to scientific theory, the Big Bang occurred almost 14 billion years ago, and since then, the universe continues to expand. About 4.5 billion years ago, the solar system was created. Nebula, clouds of gas and dust, hovered around the sun. After a long process, one of these nebula became planet Earth. An enormous ball with a hard crust and volcanic lava interior. If we were approaching Earth 4 billion years ago, passing through its atmosphere and observing it from high above, we would have discovered this sight. The blazing substance inside the ball continued to bubble and to press on the thin crust while wrinkling it. The hills and valleys were formed. The rain which fell unabated filled the lower areas with water, and extensive areas were flooded. These processes lasted for hundreds of millions of years and shaped the face of the Earth. The blazing substance inside the Earth sometimes succeeded to break through the crust, and thus volcanoes were formed. Let us focus on the area where we are today, because something unique happened here. More than 200 million years ago, a system of large rivers covered the area. The river water washed away many alluvial materials which accumulated into a thick layer of sandstone. Then the sea flooded the area for the last time. For millions of years, the remains of ancient marine life, whose skeletons contained chalk, sank to the bottom of the sea. There, they accumulated until they became a hard layer of limestone above the sandstone. Powerful forces from inside the planet continued the surface wrinkling process until the bottom of the sea rose and became a mountain. The last time the sea retreated from here, it left behind a large anticline with a crust of marine sedimentary rocks, hard limestone and dolomite, with a soft, crusty sandstone interior. Rain and wind struck at the anticline until cracks were formed, and the river system that was created cut across its summit. A basin was formed, rimmed with hard limestone and soft sandstone inside. The formation of the Arava Rift within the framework of the activity of the Great Rift Valley caused the basin to tilt sideways. The rain which fell created a river that flowed into the direction of the tilt. The river swept the soft sandstone at the bottom of the anticline out of the basin. Slowly, the basin was emptied of sandstone. The walls collapsed inwards, expanding the basin and created cliffs at its edges. Thus, a Maktesh, crater, was formed. A valley surrounded by cliffs, drained by a river. Makteshim of this kind, just like Maktesh Ramon, may be found only in the Negev and in the Sinai Desert. The floor of the Maktesh and its walls allow us a rare glimpse into the processes of hundreds of millions of years. Processes that continue to occur even at this very moment.
Mm-hmm.
36 kilometers long, 18 kilometers in the widest part. While driving, take a look to the rock formation on your left side. You can see how the rocks change from the limestone, dolomite or chalk rock, from the ocean sedimentary rock to the sandstone. We will be able to see the sandstone in a second. Here is the sandstone, now on your left. Now on your left, the beginning part of the sandstone, the white, yellowish, the pink color, all sandstone. The black colors on the right side are magma that succeeded to rise up through the sandstone, and because of the erosion it is exposed that we can see it today. Without the erosion of the crater we won't be able to see the black magma down here because it was underneath the limestone. On your left you can see the sandstone. All that black now is the sandstone. You can see the difference between the sandstone and the limestone. Look that the sandstone is much softer, and you also can see that the erosion on the sandstone is faster. Look on your left. Everything that collapsed over here is the sandstone. Now you can see also the pink sandstone on your left side. You see all those big rocks on your left with the pink color,
pink, yeah.
blocks of sandstone layers. At the Ramon crater there are many attractions. First of all, of course, jeep tours, 2 hours, 4 hours jeep tour. Stargazing, very popular.
Love the stargazing.
Stargazing, especially during the summertime. The stargazing take place in the center of the crater of the Maktesh. There's a off-road track, takes you inside to observation point. The observation point is a flat sand, like there's nothing special there. You need to bring your own equipment, like telescope, computer, and whatever.
No.
Also, there are companies at Mitzpe Ramon that provide the service, like the rappelling and the jeep tour. The same companies provide also telescopes, and they make like a nice bonfire, coffee, tea, mattresses, and they bring the telescope. Here you can see on the right side the sandstone.
Iron Malevsky's the best. There's no fire.
Magma, yeah, lava. Ancient volcanoes. Yeah, the black stones are ancient lava volcanoes.
Next to him, you turn your lights off and you wait your eyes adjust. You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No.
Basalt.
Yeah. The place where you have the stargazing tours.
We're heading now to the Khan Saharonim campground. Over there we will take a short walk, where we'll walk to the water spring and Saharonim water spring. We will see the ancient incense route, the Nabatean incense route, and the camel caravan. It's like a campground, or it's not a citadel even, it's like a little campground or post, like a caravan protection post from the time of the Nabatean. Now you can see how the crater valley is big and wide. Through the front window you can see Ardon Mountain. The Ardon Mountain. There is a 3 to 4 Celsius difference between the lower part of the crater and up in the upper part. So the lower part is warmer, 3-4 Celsius. Wintertime, and of course summertime as well.
Where's the mountain that you said looks like the heart?
Here, on your left, right now on the left side, that's Ardon Mountain. The Ardon Mountain shaped the heart of the crater. That's the heart part. Over here, the Carpentry, will return back here. The Carpentry, it's a loop trail, like a 15 minutes walk. Loop trail, you can see the hill on the right side. It's a magmatic metamorphic rock. It used to be a sandstone, but because of the lava, the sandstone changed through a metamorphic system to a different rock. You ask?
שם.
גם באזור לכיש, כן.
הוא יעשה לי, אני מקווה...
שיעשה לך את לכיש, אשקלון.
לא, עכשיו, לכיש השבוע הבא, הוא עדיין בצבא.
הוא עדיין במילואים.
הוא יעשה לי את אשקלון אשדוד.
We're crossing Nahal Ramon, Wadi Ramon. Okay, right now we're crossing the Wadi Ramon on top of the bridge. Yeah, you can see the Wadi below the bridge. Wadi Ramon carries flash flood like 2 times a year, 3 times a year, depends of course the winter. Wadi Ramon drain into Wadi Nekarot that drain into Nahal Arava. And Nahal Arava all the way to the Dead Sea. We're taking the next junction left. Over here, for all those who are looking for stargazing, that off-road to the right, yeah, that road takes you to a location of stargazing. On the right side you can see Mount Ramon, far in the horizon. Below the clouds, take a look right now to the right. You can see a flat mountain on the right side. Below the cloud, that's the highest mountain of Ramon, 1,043 meters above sea level. אנחנו פה שמאלה עוד רגע, עוד מעט. עוד מעט שמאלה. צריך לעשות U-turn בעוד 500 מטר, או לפנות שמאלה על הקו הלבן. איך שאתה מחליט.
יש גם...
מה שאתה מחליט.
לא.
אז עושים U-turn.
עוד חצי קילומטר.
אז אתה יודע מה? בוא נעשה קודם קירה המונית איתו. כי זה בצד ימין. We'll do the Ammonite wall first, because the Ammonite wall is on the right side of the road. Okay? אז כל הזמן ישר. כל הזמן ישר. We'll do the Ammonite wall and then we'll return because of the line. כי אחר כך שיוצאים גם אפשר לפנות עוד פעם שמאלה. On the right side, a very popular camping site, campground. It's called Selina. Right now you can see it on the right side. You can see the tent. Selina. Selina, I don't know.
No, his boyfriend, his girlfriend.
Okay, you prepare for your... Okay.
He's very ready.
All yours. עכשיו. הפסקה הבאה.
We go, we can walk there.
Yeah, it's a 15 minutes walk. 20 minutes walk.
עכשיו אתה עושה שלהם...
We get there.
Will we get there? Okay, we will start with the Ammonite wall. עוד ישר, אני אראה לך בסה, זה יהיה מצד ימין. עוד 1.5 קילומטר.
Yeah, it's like, did you say?
It's Latin, I don't know.
No, I know.
You know.
Okay, so according to the Arabic version of Wikipedia, it was not in English, there was an Egyptian god named Amon, and he had like 2 horns, and they used to curl like a coil, and this is how they got the name. But it's not in English, it's only an Arabic version of Wikipedia.
That's also Alexander the Great also looked like
Yeah, so this is where the name came from.
Timeline over there. I thought that was
that. That's cool. Well done.
Okay.
National Geographic's gonna be so excited. You have no idea.
What?
National Geographic's gonna be so excited. We got it. It's a big deal for everybody. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
اسمع بالويكيبيديا الانجليزي ملقيتش.
لا
والله. Guys, Zaki, very well. Thank you very much. There is still a relative animal to the Ammonite. Nautilus still exists in the deep ocean, the Atlantic and the Pacific deep ocean. You can still find Nautilus, their cousin. Okay, the Nautilus is the cousin of the Ammonite. So every time you take your submarine down into the deep ocean,
You will see.
okay, hundreds of meters into deep ocean, you may find a Nautilus.
Another fun fact about it.
Yes.
In Wikipedia Arabic version, it's called Noti.
Notice. Notice. So that are the Ammonite. Very nice.
So we don't see the actual.
Here.
You just see the print.
Oh, wow.
That's one there.
The fossils, that's the fossil.
Isn't that neat?
Fossil, it's a print of an ancient animal.
Yeah.
It's like your footprint. It's like the limestone before.
But
it
it's
was,
it's not like
guys,
your
we're
footprint.
going back to the
though.
bus.
It's like your footprint that filled in with something
Not
else.
bones, not the bones.
No
of the animal.
bones, no organic, nothing. Before the limestone was a dark, hard limestone, it was mushy, muddy limestone. And because of the pressure of the layers above it,
Okay,
it's
I'll
got
leave it is.
harder. So the pattern.
Oh, that was good.
guys, let's go back to the bus.
We would like to start. Thank you. Okay, Zakai, please. You've seen it's not far away from the bus.
Zaki, not Zakai.
Zaki. Zakaria. Zakaria.
Prophet Zakaria. Prophet Zakaria.
Yalla.
Anybody else in the back? Yes, oh, we still have Asher.
He's getting the grade, so you have to wait.
According to Wikipedia, it's not like this.
That's because Yoni went in and changed it before your class, so you make sure.
Okay. Zakai.
Zaki!
Zaki, please.
All right. Is everybody here? Yes. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. So I will explain a few things about Ammonites. So we are right now at the outer side of the Maktesh Ramon, and it is the lower part. So what are Ammonites? These are not the Ammonites and Moabites in Jordan, different kind of creatures. So what are Ammonites and when did they live? If you went to swim in the ocean during the Mesozoic era, you will be surrounded by many of these creatures. There were abundant of them, more than 30,000 different species of different sizes and shapes. They first appeared in the ocean 400 million years ago, long before the dinosaurs walked the earth. I'm not going to cover this part of the dinosaurs because Guy covered it in Betzite. And what do we really know about Ammonites? They were very fascinating creatures. They used their shells to go up and down in the water by filling the chambers of their shells. Just like a submarine. They fill the water, they sink, and they empty the water, they float. Very fascinating creatures. They are like the Nautilus. They are the same family of the Nautilus because they are cephalopods. Yeah, cephalopods like the octopus. They use they have a siphon that they squirt water out to move in the water and move in very fast speeds. So why did they go extinct and why they are right here in the middle of the desert? No, relax. So 66 million years ago, an asteroid struck the Earth. It was 12 kilometers in diameter, and there was a major impact on all ecosystems, including the shallow waters. Unlucky for them, they used the shallow waters to put their eggs, to lay their eggs, and this was one of the reasons they went extinct. So it's believed that they looked just like this.
Wow.
These are the Ammonites. This is their they used this pot in order to squirt water and gas in order to move in the waters and also to eat. And they usually are sitting in the far chamber. The animal used to sit in the far chamber. There are no preserved soft animals that they can make investigations on them, but these fossils are embedded inside the limestone. It spelled 300 million years of Ammonite evolution, but it left behind a legacy of life during the prehistoric scenes. And these are the Ammonites. Any questions?
None.
Well done.
Woo!
I'm just going to say, first of all, it was excellent, but I want to emphasize, I know he didn't make them, they're from Yoni, but the importance of having
some type of visual aid. And from now on, again, until now, we've been going on slowly. It's a good idea. Again, not if it's something that's not shayach. It's you're holding a
prepared one.
No.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect. No, I wanted that is what we're. So try to put that in. If you need some help finding it, that's also good. But that's even better that I see that he has it, not just use Yoni's. But visual aids are important, and therefore, from now on, the expectation is to have at least one thing that you're showing. It can be Bible, it could be a New Testament, but if you can actually show a picture, a diagram, a map, that's also very good. Excellent job. Thank you.
Woo!
Excellent.
Okay, Yoni will fill in a few more
I'd like to add
details.
a little bit more information. First of all, take a look. It's important, remember, the difference between a lecture in class to a tour guide is the field. So always use the field. Otherwise, we can stay back in class. Take a look at the ammonite. Take a look at the fossil. Look how big are the fossils. Look at this one, for example. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Three times my hand. Okay? Look how big are the fossils. You can see along the wall that in many parts,
So
people took the fossil. People chiseled the fossil with a hammer and chisel, and they stole it. Fossil in Israel are protected by the law. You're not allowed to break the wall and to take it as a souvenir. More information. The Ammonites wall is as Zach said, are the outside wall of the crater. Remember the crater, we talked about layers. Layer on top of a layer on top of a layer. And then the layer, what happened to the layer? They folded. They folded. Because of the folding, as you can see over here, because of the folding, the Ammonite were exposed.
Oh, interesting.
Okay? If there was no folding, the Ammonite are between two layers.
Uh-huh.
The Ammonite over here, they died around 100 million years ago. Around 100 million years ago, the Ammonite died.
Why are they all?
We assume, we don't know the answer. The scholars think that the Ammonite died because of a big change in the condition of the water. Less oxygen, less sun succeeded to get through the water. The water became too
Acidic.
fit, too silic, too heavy. Okay? And the Ammonites couldn't find more food, couldn't find more oxygen for their living, and the Ammonites started to die. Once they died on the same layer, on the same place at the ocean. And then we got a layer of a limestone with a lot of Ammonite.
Huh.
Inside the fossil, there is nothing organic. There is nothing organic. The animal itself dissolved in the rock, died totally. But the shape of the fossil, the shape of the
Remained.
what
organic
left, the
remains.
shape, it's made from a shell, and the shell, it's a calcium carbonate. The calcium carbonate shell got part of the limestone. So this is a limestone, but the mud of the limestone got the shape because of the shell of the calcium carbonate of the ammonite. It's like to take a coin into a mud, and then the mud will dry. Okay, it's like you pave a new cement road, and there is a cat walking on the cement, and then the cement is dry. So it's just the
Science.
the sign, just the pattern. It's just the pattern of the ammonite. And then, as we said, 60 million years ago, all the entire area was under a folding, and because of the folding, there was a valley here between the two areas, between the wall of the crater to the outside part of the crater. There was a valley over here, and the erosion started to expose that part. As you can see over there, there is more ammonite. But what happened over there? The erosion
Look at it.
didn't remove all the material. So all that part here and all that part here, okay, there is more ammonite. The ammonite are
still underneath. We need to remove all the material here to find more ammonite.
You will find ammonites on the other wall?
You won't find ammonite on the other
Sandstone.
wall because the other wall is a different rock. This is a limestone. Over there is a chalk rock. That part, when the folding of the crater, when it was folding of the crater, the ocean was here. And the ocean keep with a new sedimentation. And the new sedimentation on the lower slope of the rocks of the mountain was chalk sedimentation. So what you see here, you can see the chalk sedimentation. Okay, that's after the faulting. It's a chalk. It's newer than the limestone. This is 25 million years ago, and this is 90 million years ago.
But if you dug underneath this far enough, you would find the
If you
ammonite.
dug underneath as far as you'll get to that layer,
Yeah.
you'll find more ammonite.
Okay,
Got
so
it.
Okay,
it is
because
simply
that
much
layer,
lower than-
let me take once again. Okay, the ammonite are here in that layer.
Oh, cool.
The ammonite in that layer. What you see over there is that layer. Okay, so you need to pass 50 millions of layers over there to get to the ammonite. Why we do have the ammonite here? Because of the folding. This is the folding, and it's continue. The folding continue also underground. And while it was under the water, as you can see, here is the folding. Here is the folding. Here is the folding. Here are the ammonites. The ammonites are right here. The ammonites are here. But what happened here? Here are the ammonites are in that layer. What happened outside, far away from the folding? More ocean sedimentary rock. That rock, that chalk, is continue to create more, as you can see, continue more and more layers. And you can see that the new layers are
More dense, more thicker.
More deep.
more deeper, and there are no ammonites in that layer because it's a different layer. Okay?
And you need to come here to get the ammonite.
Yeah, so if you want to find the
Interesting.
ammonites, you need to dig all that part until you get to the limestone.
Interesting.
Okay?
The name coming from?
Ammonite? To Gaza, and we will see along the way the beautiful colors of the sandstone of the Ramon crater. Over here you can see how deep are the slope of the crater. Look how the folding was so strong that it almost get to 90 degrees angle. As you can see, if you think about the folding, remember, ocean sedimentary are always flat and equivalent until the fold start. And once the folding start, it can be 20 degrees or it can be 90 degrees. And over here we have almost a parallel wall, almost a 90 degree. Just you can imagine how tall was the mountain, because you need to take that line and take the line all the way to the town of Mitzpe Ramon, where we just started this morning from the observation point. And you can imagine how tall, how high was the mountain before the erosion. All the chalk rock, all the white, pure colored chalk rock you see on the right and left side are the ocean sedimentary on the outcome of the crater. Once the crater was folded as a mountain, before it was a crater, the ocean was still here on the sides. The mountain was like an island in the ocean, and the ocean sedimentary was on the sides.
Yoni,
Yes.
if we're seeing a fold, does that mean we're looking at the edge of a tectonic plate?
No, you're not looking at the edge of a tectonic plate. You're looking at the edge of a folding. Tectonic plate is a different rock between the crust. You need to cut all the crust until you get the mantle. In a regular folding, you can't reach to the mantle.
So what's the connection with the movement of the tectonic
Because
plates
of
and
the
folding?
movement of the tectonic plate, we have all the folding. The folding made because of the movement of the continent.
Because the tectonic plate itself has like it's the lava underneath it is the convection of that. Oh, look how pretty that is.
Okay, back again to the crater. You can see the edge of the crater once again on the right side. לא, עוד ישר. פה זה הדרך הישנה הארוכה יותר. Look at the edge of the crater on the right side.
Wow.
That's the edge of the crater.
رجعنا كريتر هون لا في النص سبحان الله. لما كنا نمشي في السيارة احنا بنشوف الجبال ولا تاخذ ولا تعطي. سلام بتقول كيف؟
انا ما عمري وصلت له.
ها؟
عمري وصلت له. ما عمري دخلت بهذا الشتاء هذا ما عمري دخلت.
So this road was built on limestone. Yeah. لا يعني حتى لما تمشي في اي محل يعني
لا هو
يصير تفهم انت
هو بجنن المناظر رهيبه بس هذا اللي يعطونا اياه مفيد جدا بس انا هذا الموقع البلد ما عم بشوفه ما كان في سبب
كان مثلا
بتطلع على الاشي
ديفرنت بوينت اوف فيو هلا بتطلع عليه
لا انت مش كان بالصوت كعادة
فعلا اختلفت زي ما المواسير هذول البيض اللي كنا نشوفهم عند اليهود كثير قلت كده انهم تبع المجال طلعوا تبع المي صرت دائما اعرف انه تبع المي وانه تبع
البيض مي
البيض مي
والسود
في سود هو زهر
بسموها قصدي ليلك
مكروت شيء مكروت
براشك هذول حكيت لك مجال
رومان السود
لا اللون زي الليلك
بس عمرنا ما كنا نعرف في كمان اسود في ثلاث
بس اسود بس ما بعرف ليش
Clockwise, it's copper. Brown, more magnesium. So different mineral, different colors, and it's all sandstone. Enjoy the views.
Yeah, it's cool.
بس ننزل نرعى هلا مش فاهم That's green. What's green for?
Copper.
Copper.
Turquoise.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, the deep water, the aquifer, they reach the aquifer. Okay, the bulldozers dug so deep until they reach the aquifer. Look at the wall of the crater on your left.
Maybe we should turn the bus around. These people on the right side are getting gypped.
They dug that, or that's natural?
No, it's not natural. They dug it.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's all that wall.
Wow.
It's because the bulldozers, the caterpillars, they dug deep into the rock.
Man-made erosion.
Yeah.
This is probably rain.
طلع محلى هذا اللايرز
Yeah.
live in the desert? Oh yeah, true.
Live in the desert, you can't remember your name.
I've been there many times.
Only if you're a horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I took tours there from students from Chile. We went there a couple times.
You stop at the falafel shop? Or?
Yeah. And there's the one overlooking the desert.
Yeah.
And then there's the
famous restaurant there.
It's very exciting. Dane Saharoni parking lot area trailhead.
Very good restaurant.
Make sure you leash your dog. Wow. What a pretty place. It's my wife's maiden name.
What?
My wife's maiden name is Saharon.
It is?
Yeah.
Is she Sephardi?
No, her parents are Israelis that changed their names.
They changed their name to Schwartz?
No, you're right. No, to Saharon. So her father's name was Chasman and her mother was Mandel. So they decided that they would create Saharon. They're hippies.
Are they're happy hippies?
I mean, well, you know, life goes on.
It sure do. But it pays to be happy for it to go on.
It does. It does. It's better for you if you can have it go on happily.
Where are your parents?
Not my parents. My in-laws.
Oh, your in-laws.
Yeah.
Are they here?
My mother-in-law is here. My father-in-law is in Tucson. They went to America for him to do graduate work, and then they split up, and my mother-in-law came back here. You know, finding companies that were developing these orphan drugs, and that would hire them for their consultative knowledge to enable them to get orphan drug status in the European Union or the U.S.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So.
Calling it orphan drugs, does that sell more than calling it like
It's not a sales tool. It's a legal technical definition that enables you to utilize your drug or sell your drug without going through the rigorous testing that regular drugs would have to go through, because several 1,000 kids are dying of this terribly rare disease, and your drug could help them, but the FDA won't let you use it because you can't test drugs that are whatever.
Right.
So
there's a market for...
Well, it's more of a rachmanis. It's the market's for sure there. That's not the issue. The issue is the regulatory aspect. In other words, the FDA won't let you, just because you say that your snake oil will cure cancer doesn't mean the FDA lets you sell it as a cancer curative. And if you're, presumably if it hurt, so they regulate it, so you're not allowed to give it out at all or whatever. But if you can give some proof that this is likely to save some kid's life, then the FDA might let you do that if it meets certain lower standards than if you were to try to market a, bigger use medication.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's good to know that there's a little humanity there as far as creating a new category to.
Oh, sure.
For the sake of helping people in the end.
Yeah, government gets a bad rap. It's not to say there isn't inefficiencies, but most of the people who are there, are really there for the right purposes. There are crummy people too, like there are in every other field, but it's not like you can find more crummy people in the for-profit world than you can in the government world.
Is this salt?
That's a good question. Thanks. If we see one, what should we do?
It's salt. It's definitely salt.
Is this is the wild ass a donkey?
Yeah.
Is it a mule?
Oh, mules can't be wild.
Right, they can't. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mules are feral.
Yeah.
The Yemin.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
That's what you mean by midbar.
Oh, yeah, right.
Nicola, was working for Mr. A flicker of mine.
Oops, sorry, Esther. It's cool. I don't know.
Ring about it.
This is what we came for?
Let's find out.
May I use your stick? Yes. Where's the river? The cannibals who actually capture missionaries.
Oh, that's the Maktesh. No, it's Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Cut off the ears.
Okay, I took you over here, guys.
Sorry.
Even though I heard some of you say all this for a little bit of water. So yes, all this for a little bit of water, and that drop of water is what makes that place so unique in the desert. Because this is a desert oasis, Neve Midbar, or Neot Midbar according to the Bible. The Bible talks about Neve Midbar, about Neot Midbar, and this is Neve Midbar. Neve Midbar, it's a place in the desert that you can reach water. And because of that water spring, Ein Sa'aronim, because of that spring, we have all the green oases around us. We have the tamarisk, we have the rotem, the broom bush we saw coming in. We have all the cane, all the cane, and all the water. Where are we in the crater? Here is the crater, Mount Ardon, Ardon Valley, Mahmal Valley, the visitor center, the town of Mitzpe Ramon. Road number 40. We took the road, we drove out of the crater, we stopped here for the fossil wall. The fossil wall is at the outside of the crater wall. We drove back and we drove all the way in to Mahmal, and we're somewhere over here. We're somewhere over here, and we're in the Vadi. This is the Vadi of Mitzpe Ramon. We're standing at Nachal Ramon, at Mitzpe Ramon Vadi, at Vadi Ramon. Here is the Vadi coming out, through the way out from the walls of the crater. You can see the walls crater. Okay, Akirot shel Maktesh Ramon, the walls of the Ramon crater, and the Vadi coming out through the walls, taking all the water from the entire area of the Ramon crater. Because of a massive flash flood, 2 times a year, 3 times a year, all the aquifer, all the soft aquifer over here is filled with water. The water fills the aquifer, and because of that, the natural water spring here carry water all year around. And you can see the water spring. Okay, that's the water spring. You can see all the cane, all the cane on top of the spring itself. We walked through the spring. In some places you saw a white layer on top of the ground. That white layer is salt. After the water of the water spring evaporates, the salt stays on the ground. So sometimes the water spring is in a bad condition. Sometimes the water spring carries more water. Sometimes that area is totally wet and you can't stand here. It depends the rain, and depends how long ago was the last flash flood. Okay? That water spring of El Sahorin and the exit of the crater was the main reason why the Nabatean choose that hilltop to be a campground, a camel caravan, because of the water and because of the exit of the body from the wall. The Nabatean ancient kingdom, they choose that hilltop, that slope of the mountain, we're going there right now, to be a camel caravan stronghold or a camel caravan campground. Okay? From over here we're gonna take another 5 minutes walk to the slope, and we're gonna talk about the campground of the Nabatean. Yes.
So this is the southern
valley, yeah, the southern
There is
valley.
also northern valley.
Yeah.
And when erosion took place, big erosion, this was the exit from.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because there is this thing, there should be another exit here.
Thank you very much. The Ramon crater is another exit. The Ramon crater is another exit also over here, but this exit is newer than the exit over here.
After the crater.
You know, according to the official dictionary lexicon of geography, crater is one exit. Don't tell Wikipedia Ramon crater has 4 exits.
But I mean, there's no entrance and exit.
The water go down to the Dead Sea.
Yeah, to Arava Valley and then to the Dead Sea. Out? No, we're inside the crater, but in the southern valley.
Yeah, there's 2 of them
Let's
now.
continue to the
That's so cute. This is cool. Scenic overlook.
No, I just keep them out. I just buy them at different stages of the ripeness.
We're in a Nabatean ruin dated to between 200 and 300 years before the Common Era. The Nabateans were key people in the times of the second basin of Maktesh. They were eventually destroyed by the Romans, but in their heyday, they were responsible for bringing spices, amongst other goods, frankincense and myrrh particularly, from Yemen all the way to Gaza City.
Yeah, it's a group of people that stayed, like a small group of people that stayed here and maintained the place, like a post, like an army post. Yeah.
That lonely tree out there. Emil, you're on your own over there. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
هذا لمين؟
المسافر.
طيب.
الجامع منهم وقت واحد أو
I can't imagine getting my kids to do something like this.
What?
I can't imagine getting my kids to do something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about this place with the kids here.
Like,
This little bit of water
it's not
might be
like,
challenging. Like there is a little bit more water, then it could be more interesting.
I mean, like I'm enjoying being here. Oh, everyone okay? But And but I don't know. Yeah, I think like my wife would want them to do something like this, but I think it'd be like, I'm bored. Can we back to the car now? We have to walk this whole way? Wait, where are we going? Can we? What, are we there? Wait, more walking?
This. I mean, we're coming in the perfect weather.
Yeah, it is really amazing.
About the weather.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine coming here in the summer?
No.
This is perfect.
I mean, I can imagine it, but I don't want to.
It's sunny.
Yalla. Wow. How cool is that?
هاي البايك. هاي البايك يا جماعة. مين انت؟ ما راح نكسر بس معلش.
لا نخلص. Stained glass windows.
Yemen. أنا هاي فريقنا. Okay, guys. I want to.
بعد هذيك بعد آخر كلاسيكو طلبنا فعالي شوي. بيشوفوهم. جابوا الجول الأول ومنهم. أكلوا جولين.
To walk through all the bushes.
Okay.
I had a big fight with the leopard over here. Yeah, and the leopard, you know,
Scratched you.
Scratch. No, it's because of the leopard. Yeah, you missed it. No, no. The moment I came from, you know, from the seat in the bus, the pens got caught in the handle.
Yes.
So don't buy Columbia pens. Yeah. Don't buy Columbia pens. They're.
What are the Columbia pens?
Here. Only from the looks.
Oh, that's a good duct tape.
Why do you have tape on you?
That's a duct tape.
Just wrap it around you. Don't stop the blood. Tie it around the leg.
That's a good duct tape. Thank you.
I'll tell you what.
It's electrical.
Yes, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. You can have a good breath. Yeah, take it around.
Caravan station increased because they charge commission for every day of walking, while the product made all the way to Gaza, the price was maybe 10 times or 20 times expensive than it just left from Yemen. At the year of 106, 107 to the coming era, AD, the Roman Empire took control of the Nabatean kingdom and they marked the path. They marked the path with a milestone. Over here at the Ramon crater, we found more than 20 milestones from the Roman era. Once the Roman marked the trail with milestones, the Nabatean lost their business model. Once they lost their business model, they also lost their culture, and slowly they started to assimilate into the Roman society. The Nabatean cities like Ovdat, Mamshit, Nitzana, Subota, Shifta, and more that you will visit in the next field tour during the course, you'll see the process from a nomadic culture of navigation to a settlers of one city. Because after the Roman took the business model, the Nabatean needed to change their model, and they turned to be farmers, and they started with vineyard, olive farms, and more under the hands of the Roman Empire. Over here, in that campground, you can see the beginning of the Nabatean. That campground is from the 2nd century before the Common Era. 2nd century CE, BCE, okay, 2nd century BCE. BCE. That campground is 2nd century BCE until 2nd century CE. You can see the walls, you can see corner guarding like a corner, maybe protection or guarding, you know, like a tower corner tower protection. You can see the main gate in front of us. Okay, the main gate in front of us. Most of the campground most of it never excavated. So you can see all the layers are still in there. Okay, So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna walk through over here, and we're gonna walk out through the gate, and you're gonna see all the layers that never been excavated. Okay, from here, the path was up the mountain, not the Ardon mountain, a different mountain. To of that, it's a day of walk. From of that to Shifta, from Shifta to Nitzana, from Nitzana to Gaza. So from here to Gaza, 4 to 5 days of walk. 5 years ago, I had the honor to walk with a delegation of Israelis and Jordanian research, and we walked 5 days together from Petra to of that. From Petra to of that, Israelis, scholars with Jordanian archaeologists together. We had a conference about the Nabatean research studies, and we walked together and we searched a certain track in the path that we had no idea, we had no information where was exactly the trail, the track. And we brought camels with us because, as you know, I don't know if you know, the camels has a specific angle that they cannot go more than that, okay? Like 20, 25 angle, and that's it. Okay, so the camel can't go a very steep slope. So we searched the downhill from Petra to understand where was the exactly path coming down from Petra to the Arava Valley. There is a nice video I will send through Asher the link. I will send to Asher the link of the video, and you can see how we found out about that track. And at that seminar, we also found another 3 new milestones that never been exposed to the science. They were found between the Ramon crater to of that. Outside from the crater, on the way to of that, we found several 3 milestones that never been exposed. So that's the incense route. It's called incense route as a touristic name. Okay, we as tour guide, we gave that name. We don't know what was the name of
incense.
Incense, like incense, like in Hebrew we say besamim, besamim. Incense, derech hapsamim, derech hapsamim, derech hapsamim. Incense root, bachur. طريق البخور طريق البخور بالعربي درب البخور أيوة درب البخور درب البخور.
Petra was their capital?
Yeah, Petra was their capital. The tourism sector named it طريق البخور or درب البخور, incense route, derech hapsamim, as as a touristic name. We don't know what was the name of the Nabatean. We don't know how they called it. Okay, it was a secret. Yeah, of course.
What's called ways?
20 years ago, the UNESCO, United Nations Science Culture Organization of the United Nations declared the incense route and all the campground and the Nabatean cities as a World Heritage Site. And you'll see there is a symbol of the UNESCO symbol at Ovdat, Nitzana, maybe over here as well on the sign.
And the UNESCO also call it incense road?
Yeah, the UNESCO World Heritage Site also called it the incense route. Okay, from over here, you're welcome to go to explore the place. Question, and we'll go to the bus, and we have another stop. Yes.
Two questions. What did they bring back toward Yemen? I mean, they didn't just, they carried stuff back.
We know that they carried back from Gaza. Views. First, the view. Mount Ardon, Ar-Ardon. Okay. The camp lodge or campground Khan, in Arabic Khan Saharonim. Nahal Ramon Vadi. You can see the Ramon Vadi, you can see the date trees, the acacia trees. Okay, the spring of Saharonim down here below. Mount Saharonim, the Saharonim mountain. You can see the wall of the crater, the east-south part of the crater. Okay, if this is the crater, okay, the shape of the crater with the heart in the bottom, something like this. Okay, we're in the east-south part of the walls of the crater. You can see the walls of the crater. You can see the hiking. Oh, great. That bird in Hebrew, zanvan.
Zanvan.
In English, bubbler.
Bubbler?
Arava bubbler bird, zanvan, because the zanvan has a very long tail. It's a bubbler tail Arava bird. Bubbler tail Arava bird. Look at that tail they have. Okay, the zanvan in Hebrew, because of the zanvan,
That sounds like.
they live like people, like human. Okay.
In groups, yeah.
Professor Amotz Zeavi was the one who did a long research about the zanvan, and they found out that they work together like people. They know how to protect themselves. For example, if there is a snake in the area, all the birds will come to protect the younger bird from the snake. They will make a hard noise to try to scare the snake so the snake will escape. And there is a beautiful theory after them. It's called, the name of the theory is Birds and Altruism. It's an altruistic bird, and it's a very interesting ecological or environmental theory about altruism in animals. And that bird is a great example to describe what is altruism in animals. For example, when there is food, the parent will give the food first of all to the young birds. And they live in like in a kindergarten. All the birds, they live together. The strong bird will go to protect the younger one. Okay? And why they have the long tail? The long tail is for show off. Okay? They wanna tell you it's like to drive a big car, or like to have a Lamborghini, you know, or like to have a very big, you know, like a gold, gourmet, it's like gold and silver. Okay, or to have like a golden, you know, like a Breitling, Rolex. It's heavy. So why do you carry the Rolex? It's heavy, and people would like to tear it from your hand. So why you walk with a Rolex? You want everyone to know that you can afford yourself to buy a Rolex. Okay? People has no money to fill their food in the refrigerator, but they'll have a Mercedes in the parking lot because they want their neighbor to know. It's a status. So the
males and females
where are
look
they?
the same?
They escape over there. So the long they're showing off with the long tail. The male have a very long tail, longer than the female. The female will have a short tail. You know, to show off. Yeah. They're strong.
It's cute.
Yeah. Like this. Ego, yeah. Okay, now we're gonna talk about, turn around, we're gonna talk about the campground. Well, yeah, we can stand here. If you want, you can sit. It's a few minutes talk.
Zan.
What's the name of the bird?
Zangan? I wrote it down. Hold on. I'll tell you in a second. Hold on. Turn this thing on. No. Zanvan.
Zanvan.
Zanvan. Zanvan.
Zanvan bird.
Zanvan.
Please try not to feed them because it's not healthy, but okay. Okay,
My phone died, so you
Ah, okay.
Okay, the Nabatean, an ancient Arabic tribe before the time of Islam. They are Arabs. We're talking about Arabs before the time of Islam. We're talking about Arabs from the Arab Peninsula, from the 3rd century before the Common Era. We're talking about polytheism culture. Polytheism Arab culture from Arab Peninsula. 3rd and 4th century before the Common Era. Among all the Arabs, one tribe was very flourishing, and that tribe named Nabatean. They named Nabatean because Nabato, the name Nabato means the secret of water in the ancient language of the Arabian Nabatean kingdom. Between the 3rd century to the 2nd century AD, between 3rd century BC to 2nd century AD, they succeeded to take over the entire Arabian Peninsula, the area of Jordan today, Wadi Ram, Edom Mountains, Moab Mountains, Petra, the Israeli Negev Desert, Arava Valley, southern part of the Dead Sea, and they succeeded to take control all the way to Gaza. At that time, they made their profit out of caravan trade route. They, the only one who had the technology of how to transfer all the goods from Yemen. In south of Arabian Peninsula, there are two main important products, frankincense and myrrh, mor velevona. Levona, frankincense, and myrrh. Those two bushes are indigenous to the southern part of Yemen. Okay, indigenous. Okay, you can't find it elsewhere. In Yemen, they found out how to collect the resin. How to collect the resin from the tree, from the bush. Okay, they cut the bush, they cut the tree, and they collected the liquid, the resin, coming out from the bush, from the tree, and they flattened it like a dough, and they dried it under the sun, and then they smashed it into a little, little pieces, little cubic, little pieces. And those little pieces were very important in Jerusalem, of course, in Damascus, in Sidon, Tyre, in Athens, Greece, Rome, for the altars, for the polytheism culture altars back then, 2,200 years ago. The Nabatean...
Did it have other uses?
What?
Did it have other uses?
No, only for the smell.
Incense,
for
incense.
For incense, for the altars, frankincense, for the incense only.
Not for eating.
Not for eating. Also for making, drugs, for skin treatment, medicine, cream. They found how to do an inland trek from Yemen through the mountains of Hijaz, from the Hijaz mountain, from Mecca to Medina, Medina Salach, Petra, from Petra, zoom in the map, from Petra, they crossed the Arava Valley, from the Arava Valley, they crossed the Negev Desert, and they reached to Gaza. They import in that trade route not only incense, but also salt from the Dead Sea, meat from Arabia, okay, goat, sheep, meat from Arabia, and sometimes also pepper from Asia, from India, okay, pepper from Asia, from India. All that salt, pepper, silk lasts in this region more later in the northern and also in the northern area, more in Damascus area, in north of Asia, not in the southern part of Asia.
I think that's what he said.
Thanks to their intelligence, thanks to their technology, they found how to collect water in the desert. They curved water cistern, they build water tunnel, water terraces, and every day of caravan walking by the camels, they built a caravan station like here to protect the animals and to protect the product, the goods.
Excess.
Yeah.
Excess.
The caravan was not one caravan from Yemen all the way to Gaza. We're talking about local caravans back to back. Like one camel caravan probably did a 3 days or 4 days or 5 days of walk, and then they took off from the back of the caravan of the camels all the product, and they transfer it to a different team, a different caravan, because of the knowledge of navigation. As you can see, when we're talking 2,000 years ago, before all technology of course, not only GPS and satellite, before all the map system that we have today, topography map and orientation map, it all the navigation was in their head. Okay, they remembered the landscape, they remembered the mountains, they knew the direction, and that's how they make their money. The prices of the product from one caravan station to one
Whoa, how amazing is that? Okay, here we go. Oh my God.
Look at the form of this stone.
Yeah.
the sandstone turned to be metamorphic quartzite rock.
كان جوا البحر يعني.
كل الدنيا كان جوا البحر. كل هذا كان جوا البحر. مش جوا كان جوا البحر. لسه جوا المختيش. ما ننساش.
Oops. Yeah, enough, David?
Yeah, I've had enough. This whole thing is shaking.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'd hold on.
Oh, well, let's do this.
I'm good.
So these are the volcanic rocks?
I don't think so. This looks like, you think? I feel like Flint's blacker and that these are sandstone with a high iron content. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like they become black.
Yeah. Wow. This is really cool. Whew.